Welcome back to the channel, everybody. This is Oddtoxin Gaming here. In the debut today, I got you my round 3 of the win-a-box tournament for the Yu-Gi-Oh! Speed Duel League tournament. So it's going to be another inter-conflict mirror match because that seems to be what I'm running into, which is fine because my deck does very well against that in the mirror. So I'm going to be showcasing this game to you. And so if you like what you see, please leave a like. And if you like me, please subscribe. Alright, so let's start this. So, I always choose paper. If you're my opponent, don't use that against me. But I always choose paper. Alright, so our starting hand is looking pretty tough to start off. If I remember correctly, we start off going second. Alright, so we have a very good starting hand. We have pretty much everything we want to start off. Setting the offerings, setting the Book of Moon, and then we're going to key set the Apprentice Magician. So it looks like our opponent has Kaiser, Jinzo, Zoma, and Book. So they actually are in a little bit of a better situation than what we are at this point. So all they do here is just pass, which is very good for us. And here's where I come up with the greatest idea in the world. We're going to do Apprentice Magician Beatdown. I thought this was so funny. The reason why I decided to go for this here was just because I wanted to see if he would actually like try to stop me with using these attacks, which it would have been dumb for him to do. But in my head, it's like he's not going to, and if he does, I'm wasting the spell or trap card. And if he doesn't, then I'm taking a fifth of his damage out right here in this one play. So we're going to take out a fifth of his damage because he's not going to do anything. And that's actually very significant. Like a fifth of your opponent's life point damage is actually really nice to be taking out. Opponent's set cards are Book of Moon, Zoma, double Zoma, and then we're going to continue to just beat them down with our Apprentice Magicians. And this is also very safe, I want to point out, to have both of the Apprentices out, because even if he does enter conflict here, we have the other Apprentice to help us out, as well as a plethora of spell cards to stop the Jinzo and stop the Kaiser Glider. So he's going to Zoma here, to which I'm going to Offering, because Zoma's just a big card that I don't want anything to do with. I play Kaiser Glider in my build as well, but Jinzo could easily outed it. But in this situation, it's like, let me take a fourth of your health now. So here's where I say Apprentice Smackdown, because, you know, it's the same amount of damage as a Breaker would with the Apprentice Magicians. So Breaker gets summoned here. He's going to put a counter rate on him. I have double Book, so when he uses it, I'm just going to activate the Book. So what I do here. At this point, I don't draw because of the offerings to the Doomed. I switch both of my Apprentice Magicians to defense mode, and I'm just going to pass here. I'm in a very good situation where I can just stall. So he's going to Breaker. And he does something really cool here. He actually Apprentice Magicians and puts a counter onto the other Breaker. And I was like, oh, that was very good. So I'm just going to book it because, you know how it's going to go. And then they just pass. And I draw for turn. I get Waking the Dragon. And, you know, just going to go on with my day. So the biggest thing that I want to point out here, and he's pointing it out over here as well, is Vindictive Magician. All right, because that's where we're getting at this point, is both of us are going to end up on a Vindictive Magician. So I'm going to smack into the one Apprentice, and this is going to get his old Vindictive Magician, and then this is going to get my third Apprentice Magician. Now this is going to go and set. And the reason why I wanted this and not the old Vindictive Magician to be set is because I didn't want him inter-conflicting my old Vindictive Magician. Because next turn, that's what he's going to do. He's going to steal this card. He's going to tribute it. I already knew it. I saw it a mile away. So right here, I'm forcing him to pop one of my cards, which is going to be this one. Oh, my bad. Pop that one. Either way, it didn't matter. So we wanted to force his Vindictive activation. He's going to inter-conflict. He's going to take his 1200 damage. And then he's going to tribute off my monster. Flipping the Breaker face up. And Yeah, if it wasn't for a Sphere Karibo here, we would die. That's pretty simple. But we're also in a very nice situation. Um, so he has a lot more card advantage than we do. Keep this in mind. So no matter what, being the fact that he used Inner Conflict first and I can stay alive puts me in a very good situation myself. So I draw here, I get another Sphere. And in my head, I'm just like, well, let me conflict him, steal his Jinzo. And then what this will do is, if he doesn't have the Sphere Karibo in hand, I'm in a very nice situation. I'm going to climb, or I'm either going to waste a book. If he has Zomas face down, then I'm fine, because I remembered the Zomas. So, tributing the Jinzo, summoning the Jinzo, and I'm going to the battle. And this is where I'm like, oh no, I lose, because he goes Sphere Karibo. And I'm like, if this man summons anything next turn, I'm not in a good position. So, what he does is that he uses the book here to set his own Old Vindictive Magician, which was very good play. He then goes Old Vindictive Magician to pop the Jinzo. I'm like, oh no, that's game. He then summons Breaker, and I'm like, there's no way that I just won this game. And the reason I say this is because he's going to Breaker pop the Waking the Dragon I set last turn. Which, if you watch my last video, means we float right into Arcana Knight Joker. Which is definitely the play you want to do when doing the mirror match. So, Arcana Knight Joker is now on the field. He has used up his Inner Conflict. He has all of his monsters in attack position. I attack, and then he Sphere Karibos. So, Sphere Karibo doesn't target, so I can't negate it with Arcana Knight. So that's fine. So, what he does here is he tributes his Old Vindictive, sets the Kaiser Glider face down, turns his monster to defense mode. So, when he does this, I know that the set card is Kaiser Glider. The reason why is because you would not have tributed there to set a Jinzo. So, I then set my Book of Moon, switch my Arcana Knight Joker back to attack position, and I'm just going to attack into the Breaker. My opponent draws. He draws the Old Vindictive Magician and sets it. So I now summon Breaker the Magical Warrior. He's going to book it, which is fair, because he wants to keep his Zoma. You know, I get that. That's your win condition here. So I go into battle, and I attack the other Breaker, the Magical Warrior. He draws for turn, draws the Apprentice. In this situation, he only has one Apprentice Magician left in deck at max, so he just passes. So we draw the Zoma, flip the Breaker, set the Zoma, and hit to the battle phase. Breaker attacks to the defense monster. Now this is where my opponent misplays and gives me wrong information. I should have called a judge, but I didn't. I asked a friend about it after the end of the duel, and he's wrong. So I negate his target of my monster here, and he says he can't do it because it's in the damage step. But it's a quick effect that I have here, and quick effects can be used to negate during the damage step. It's what attack modification and quick effects. So, in case anybody wants to know about that in the future, this was misplay on my opponent's part, misplay on mine for not getting a judge. So it doesn't matter in the end. So I go into end phase. Resets Lost Win. Flips to Kaiser Glider, thinking he's in a great position, and he's going to attack my monster. I Sphere Karibo here, putting his monster to defense mode. He attacks with my Breaker, and then Zomas to defense mode. That should have been defense. Oh well. I then attack Zoma into Kaiser Glider. Now the reason I'm doing this is because I won't die to this. So my opponent can't do anything here. My opponent then, to the declaration of my attack, uses Lost Wind, which will have my monster's attack points. So I end up booking my own monster here. My opponent then switches his Zoma to attack mode and goes for the battle phase. attacking into Old Vindictive Magician. This will then kill my opponent's Kaiser Glider. Using the effect of my opponent's Kaiser Glider against my opponent, it's now going to return his Zoma to his hand. I draw for turn, or I activate my own Zoma. We get game 1. That was pretty nice. So, if you guys remember, during this duel, we would have definitely lost if it wasn't for the fact that my opponent summoned the breaker and popped the Waking the Dragon. This is what I want to put out to everybody. If you are playing Inner Conflict, you need to be playing Waking the Dragon in your extra deck. Or in your main deck. And the reason why I'm saying this is because Breaker is such a big card that just shuts down your deck. Alright, if your opponent Night Beams you, if in the Moss matchup, you're summoning out your what is it called? Arcanite Joker. Like, it's just an insane card you want to be main decking if you're playing Inner Conflict, in my opinion. So, we're going to go on to the next one, or to the next game. And my opponent opts to go second, which is the correct thing to do when playing Inner Conflict. I T-set and pass. My opponent summons Breaker, uses the Breaker pop to hit my Book of Moon, which I then target to set. Then T-sets as well at this point, and I draw for turn. I flip my Old Vindictive Magician, popping the monster card. Ignore the fact that I targeted the spell, it was a misclick. Tribute my monster, summon a Jinzo, and I go into battle. My opponent then takes the damage for whatever reason. Has the Book of Moon and the Sphere Creepo here, so I'm not sure why he took it. He then sets, doesn't take the Jinzo here, which I also thought was weird. And I summon Breaker. I use Breaker's effect. The pop the face down card. This is where I use Creature Swap, because I know this is Apprentice Magician. This is either Old Vindictive or Apprentice Magician. Both cards I do not want to be fighting at this point. So, I'm going to hit to the next play, take the Apprentice. And then I attack the Jinzo into my Breaker. So now my opponent's going to attack my Jinzo, because that outs his board. And then I still have my Kaiser Glider. So I take the Inner Conflict here, stealing the other set monster, which is either an Old Vindictive or an Apprentice. I then flip the Old Vindictive, destroying the Breaker, tributing the Old Man. No, I definitely tribute the Old Man here. Summoning the Kaiser Glider, and then flipping the Apprentice Magician. I then attack with the Kaiser Glider and get Book of Moon. I then attack with the Apprentice Magician and make him lose 400 life points. So my opponent wins the game here. Like, that's what happens. My opponent should have Inner Conflicted, should have stolen my monster, should have tributed my monster, and then attacked the Apprentice Magician. The only reason why I don't think he did that here was because he should have, or he thinks I have the Sphere Creepo, which I don't. Kaiser Glider attacks the defense monster. And then Breaker attacks his Old Vindictive, which he then punishes me by destroying the Kaiser Glider and then returning the Breaker to hand. This is now where he Inner Conflicts. Steals my monster, summons the Jinzo, sets the Waking, and kills me for game. All good though. We're going to go into our third round of this match. All right. My opponent T-sets, passes turn. All right, so I got so many cool cards to start off this game. And you know what my smart brain man, me as a smart man does? I see all these trap cards in my hand, and I go, let's set all of them. I don't know why I did that. Immediately after I summoned the Breaker, I was like, oh man, I should have definitely not have done that. So, yeah. My opponent then goes tribute for Jinzo. And I'm like, oh man. He then battles my Breaker, sends him to the graveyard. And then I'm like, oh, well, the only way I'm outing this Jinzo and not losing my match is if I top deck the tribute summon and use Inner Conflict. And I top deck the Jinzo. So I pay half my life points, which puts me in a really bad situation. If this card here is the tribute summon, I lose my Jinzo, and I lose the game essentially as long as he doesn't bring, or as long as he brings out the second Jinzo and not the Kaiser Glider. But he just takes the damage here, which is also again weird to me. I don't know why this guy kept like taking damage as much as he did, but oh well. That could have definitely been used life points to use later on in the game. He grabs the old Vindictive and sets it. So I also grab the old Vindictive and set it. He then pops my Jinzo, and now all my trap cards are able to be used. Let's go. He comes the breaker. I'm like, please hit my Waking. Please, for the love of God, hit my Waking. He doesn't. He hits my Lost Wind, which is fine. I sided into Lost Winds for the Zomas, if anybody's wondering. This is going to pop the breaker. This is going to Zoma the Spirit. So, in this situation, the biggest thing I keep thinking is, when is my opponent going to get the tribute summon? Because if he interconflicts me at all, I pretty much lose the game, and I need a monster. So, I want to try to get him out of the game as soon as possible. This is a Book of Moon here, but I don't know this is a Book of Moon because he didn't use it last turn. I'm thinking this is Waking sitting here. So I'm attacking for game, and he Sphere Karibos me. So I'm still at this point still thinking this is a Waking the Dragon because it's not activating. I then summon Zoma to attack mode, and then summon an Apprentice Beatdown. That's right, we're going back for it. No, I'm just kidding. We're creature swapping this card, stealing his face down card. And then we're attacking him for game. Or not game, but we're attacking him here. He takes the damage, and it goes to the graveyard. Now, there's a big thing I want to point out. He says, here. It really makes me like go, what are you thinking about? Because I'm thinking this is Waking the Dragon, but now I know this card's alive. So whatever this card here is, I now know is a card that can be done during the damage step. So I'm now weary of this card. So I'm sending the old man here, and then passing turn. My opponent's drawing Lost Wind. I'm now flipping the Apprentice Magician, and going for Apprentice Magician Smackdown. And I attack for game, and my opponent activates Book and Lost Wind and concedes. Yep, that's the match, guys. I want to point out the MVP of this game being Apprentice Magician. Like I said before, 2 on the field takes out a fifth of your opponent's damage was 800. The fact that I was able to get 2 pushes in my game 1 really did matter in my head. And then at the end here, just having a 400 attack point monster, something that's more than my opponent's life points at this point in time, is all I really needed. I could have flipped the old Vindictive Magician, but if this was double book, I was in for something. So I really wanted to make sure I was still sitting on the pop in case he did get the tribute for next turn. So that's the big thing. Outside of that, though, I feel like this match was really fun. My opponent did very well. And yeah, all 3 games was like a very well put together match. Anyway, I want to say thank you all for watching. Thank you for checking out my channel. If you like what you saw, please leave a like. If you like me, please subscribe. And as always, stay awesome. I'll see you all around. Bye-bye.